There's a whole world of cinema out there to be discovered. You just have to overcome that 1-inch barrier known as subtitles. My name is Kieran Griffiths. This is that 1-inch barrier. I'm joined today by Nicola Barrow, Josh Barry, as always. Gents, how are we doing?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good.
Little change up here.
Yeah, pressure's off now that I've managed to get through that intro.
I didn't know where to look.
He's done. Yeah. Everyone knows that would have been really tough for me to have to be quiet for more than 10 seconds in a row. So
we're all very proud of you, Nick.
Yeah.
Thank you to shut the fuck up for once.
Thank you, everyone. But we're good. How are you?
Doing well. We mentioned on our last episode that we've got a bit of a special series now.
Yes.
And we are getting in the spirit of March Madsness. We're talking about our favourite Dane, Mads Mikkelsen. We're covering 3 of his films from across his career. Mm-hmm. And today is the first episode of that. And we're kicking it off with the 1996 film from director Nicolas Winding Refn, Pusher.
Hell yeah.
Which is a good place to start because it's both their first films.
It is.
That's crazy to think, actually, to be totally honest.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
When you watch it, you realise, oh, this is definitely someone's first film. But like Nicolas Winding Refn, who I'm assuming a lot of us were probably introduced to him with Drive. Well, that was me.
Yeah, same for me.
Yes, I think so, actually.
And that was obviously his push into the mainstream as well. So, but that was like
2011.
Oh, no, probably. No, I would have seen Bronson before then.
Oh my God, yeah, Bronson, of course.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
But he's worked with Mads again. He did Valhalla Rising in, I want to say, like 2012.
Yeah, I think it was after Drive.
After Drive. So, yeah, it was his first film, and it was Mads Mikkelsen's acting debut, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think I was more surprised at that actually.
Yeah,
when I actually learned that it was Mads.
He was like 30 something as well when they filmed it, so it's like a later start for his career. But I mean, what better way to start with March Madsness?
Yes.
Than at the beginning. We should also mention before we jump in, welcome to the brand new podcast feed.
Yes.
Welcome to the brand new YouTube channel.
Yes.
And thank you for following the brand new social medias.
Nothing's probably changed from a viewer experience other than the fact that you don't have to see all of Nick's other shit now.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. The ones where I get to talk for more than 10 seconds straight. No, but this is exciting with the reception so far as at the time of recording has been quite good. So thank you for following that 1-inch barrier on Instagram. And thank you for following the new podcast feed, which you may hear we're corporate sellouts now. You may have heard ads before this. We are sellouts, baby.
Thank you for our 12 cents.
And you know what? We're going to reinvest that into the show. We're going to get better hosts. We're going to get better...
That's the first thing on the agenda.
That's the first thing. We are all getting fired and replaced by professionals. But no, thank you for supporting. It's exciting for us. It's been a long month sort of setting it all up, and we're excited to finally launch it with a pretty cool series, to be honest.
And I think there's some exciting thing. I'm excited about what that Instagram page is going to turn into. Obviously, we've been pushing the old episodes out, but once the new ones start, there'll be a few new things happening.
So keep your eyes peeled,
people.
Yes.
And your ears.
And your ears.
That was the weirdest. That was a shit thing to say. Yeah. I will be the first to replace.
All of your senses. Keep your sense of smell open.
Wait for that 1-inch barrier 4D experience coming soon.
Shame we
smell the country that way we're covering on the film.
It's a shame we didn't do that for Climax. Anyway.
Imagine if it would have been for love. Anywho.
Today's film, as we said, Pusher 1996. It's a Danish crime thriller film, which basically follows a low-level drug dealer, Frank, who owes some money to a drug overlord, I guess, and then makes a series of poor decisions that just get worse and worse for him.
Yeah.
That's essentially
worse and worse for him. Entertaining and more entertaining for us as the viewers. As brutal and tough as this film can be to watch sometimes, this movie just gets crazier and crazier, and arguably, in my opinion, better and better as it goes along. So, but this is first time for all of us watching it.
Yeah.
That's the first time I think it's happened on this show, except for Barking Dogs Never Bite, I believe. I think we'd all have seen something.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah.
Quiet Girl? Had you seen that before we recorded?
I thought you'd seen it.
It's
Maybe
rare.
Not. It's rare.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
it's not often that we all go in,
especially something
blind.
like this. Like we're all fans of Nicolas Winding Refn. We're all fans of Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Like this is not a not well known Mads Mikkelsen film. So I think it's a shock that none of us have seen it.
Been on all our lists.
Yeah, totally.
So this was awesome to get.
Yeah, I mean, The listeners can't see it, but there's this lovely little umbrella box set of the Pusher trilogy that I brought along, which I blind bought just purely because of Nicolas Winding Refn and Mads Mikkelsen. And I'm really excited to now watch the other two films in the trilogy. Straight off the bat, this film gave me massive Train Spotting.
Yep.
Early Guy Ritchie.
Yep.
And Safdie Brothers vibes.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah.
Like that's if you want to know straight off the bat if this is the film for you, if you like those films, terrible people making terrible choices and just high anxiety, stress,
anxiety attack the movie. Then
then this is the movie for you. It's as we said, Frank just starts off in a bad place, and his situation just gets worse and worse.
It's funny the comparison of those films you made, this is kind of like, because you said 1996, this is almost like the blueprint for those sorts of films as well. That really frenetic camera work. We got the high anxiety, the high tension between characters, a lot of characters yelling over the top of each other and screaming and arguing and whatnot. Uncomfortable situations involving violence, sexual violence, things like that. This is sort of the blueprint for me. Anyway, I couldn't think of another film that's similar to all those ones you listed that sort of came before this.
No.
But to me, the biggest thing I noticed is that it's kind of the polar opposite of the crime thriller films that were coming out of the US at that point. You got to think of this time, Casino, Goodfellas, Heat, like these really slick, cool gangster movies where you kind of like, I want to, you know what, if I was a criminal, I'd want to be those guys. I want to wear suits and rob banks with machine guns and armored trucks or run a casino.
You'd be this guy.
This is how I would be if I was a criminal.
Just right.
Dank and gross and just inept. Like inept. Yes, it's the biggest. It's fair though, because it's like the comparison to US crime films of this time. This is the antidote to their sort of coolness. Like this is just grungy.
It really is
fucking
gritty
cool.
and
gritty,
realistic, like you say. Like that would definitely be you if you were doing it.
Which again is like completely stark different to a lot of Nicolas Winding Refn's later films, which then become those like Drive and Only God Forgives, these really slick looking crime films that sort of, do have grittiness to them, but they were a bit more polished than...
Yeah, super stylized as well.
Stylized is a good word, for sure.
You see glimmers of that in here? Like you see him sort of testing out some colours.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, the neon lighting.
Yeah, there's
especially,
a tiny bit there.
You can tell he's got a bit of a thing for that.
Fetish. I think for Nicolas Winding Refn, we can call things a fetish. I don't think he hides from that.
Did you know he's colourblind?
Yes, yeah.
I only read that with looking up this film.
So that's why he likes making colours so vibrant and stand out in his films, because he's like, I can't see shit.
And I guess I know, well, this is March Madsness. We're talking about Mads, but I do quickly want to Frank Kim Bodnia. I'm assuming his... I love this guy.
The main character,
I don't know if you guys like is it All About Eve? What's it called?
Killing Eve.
Killing Eve.
Yeah.
And the Danish, Swedish version of The Bridge.
Yeah.
I've watched that series.
And
he is always good. He just has a really good screen presence. And I found in this an early film for him. He really you can't take your eyes off him.
He carries himself really well, and he does a great job of... You get unlikable protagonists in films.
Yeah.
He does a good job of being an unlikable protagonist that has no redeeming qualities.
Oh,
he is
God,
just a dick.
Just digging his hole deeper and deeper and deeper.
When he comes out of that building and he just throws that box at that guy.
The random guy.
I had to pause the film. I was laughing so hard.
You have just lost it.
I like to imagine that wasn't even an act. It was just a dude cycling past the set and he's just throwing a box at him. It's hilarious. Just this moment of levity in such a serious film.
But there's a few of those as well. Like when he falls into the lake with all the heroin too, I was pissing myself. So I'm like, you would fuck this one thing that was going to get you out of this, and you've just
he's just making the cops come in.
Water.
It's like, you want to arrest me? You got to come and get wet.
Yeah.
But that's great. He still has this this delusional pride of you just ruined any chance of you getting out of this situation alive by wetting all the heroin that was going to get you out of this. But that's funny. It's weird. It's a weirdly funny film too as well. I think Nicolas Winding Refn has this really dark sense of humor. And I would say a lot of it does come through our boy Mads, who has some real cocaine energy.
Good
good
segue.
Thank you.
That was a good segue.
I think it's really similar to those films I mentioned, like Trainspotting, Lock, Stock,
yes.
and Good Time, in that they are pretty dark films.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
But they all have their. I mean, Trainspotting I would call an outright comedy.
Yes.
But even
God,
Good Time has some pretty funny moments, and this does as well.
it's like the ridiculousness of the nature, but you kind of also go, these are all possible things that could happen in this world. Like they're not so far out of reach of reality, but it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And it makes sense why Milo, the drug kingpin, has put up with Frank's shit for so long.
Yeah.
Because he is kind of, I said he's not really likable, but he is sort of charming in that, he's you little rapscallion.
Yeah.
You little fuck up.
Yeah, because I don't know if
He's gonna grab
if it is.
yeah,
That's right.
Hey, buddy.
Because I like him. Like I kind of
totally.
and I don't know if it's because I like the actor, but I instantly was like, "Oh, come on, Frank, come on, you can get there."
How good. Cheering on the drug dealers of Denmark. Look at us go.
But Mads,
Old Mads.
It's hard to believe that this is his first film because he's just, he's not the main character in this, which I was surprised about. I kind of thought that he was a lot more prevalent in this film.
I think
I was
as
surprised.
well, knowing there's 3 movies out and the cover art of the films and everything we knew about the Push trilogy going in seemed very Mads-centric.
It did.
So I think, it makes sense that, especially now being, the very well-esteemed actor he is and deserves to be.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't unfair that we were like, this is a Mads movie. It kind of is. It kind
for
of
the
is.
first 30 minutes. Or so?
For sure.
Yeah.
But he's a presence, that's for sure. Like
isn't he?
he
Yeah.
makes
Can't miss
himself
him.
known.
No, you can't. I definitely found like his facial structure in this like a bit more extreme than as he gets older.
Yeah.
That bald head.
Yeah, it's
doesn't
probably
help,
it
does
probably
it?
is
Well,
the
I mean, it
tattoo
helps
as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I went ahead and watched the second one,
which is the real Mads,
which is the full
centric
Mads one, and
Yeah.
he doesn't. He starts to look more like the Mads we know now. I mean, it is
Because that was about 10 years
it's
later.
It's almost 10 years later.
Yeah,
right.
I think it's about 8 years later. So, but yeah, in this first film, you can tell the camera just likes him, and he just takes focus off.
He just has this energy to it. It's just this it's like an unhinged energy, but he's not necessarily an unhinged character. He seems like a puppy dog almost. Like he's just got this rampant. He's doing so much, and he's at everyone's ankles and stuff. Like even the scene in the car when they're just talking about chicks they've had sex with, which is a heinous conversation to listen to. If we
What they're saying was pretty funny though.
it's funny, and this is the comparison I want to make. That's how you do it. Not climax.
I knew you were going to
Yeah.
say that. Yeah,
Because I sat there and I was not.
You could see the humor in.
You can see the humor in it because you know that these guys are actually kind of gassing themselves up a little bit more than they are.
Yes,
It's like a who's got the biggest dick contest, and they both got micro penises, and you kind of know that. You know what I mean? Like, but it's fun that they both own it in that situation. Like their awareness of the characters, and we'll say it again, Mads for his first film, the awareness of this character is really fun to watch, despite how dark and despite how dark their relationship gets as well, because there is a massive turning point halfay through the film that causes, the fun's not there anymore. They're not talking about all the chicks they've had sex with. We'll say that much for free. So
Did either of you, I didn't look, but see how Refn found Mads?
No, I haven't looked into it.
I like this.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
Maybe while you guys were, because I was
so excited.
I was
like,
hoping
whoa.
you guys might know, but
We'll make up a fairy tale or something like they were, best friends since high school, and but I think we get a look at. Well, I'll fill the time. Don't worry, boys. We get a look at Mads' range a little bit early on in this film, and I think obviously we see it a lot later on in his career in the roles he gets to do. Like we know Mads Mikkelsen now as a fantastic dramatic actor. We'll definitely be talking about that in his next 2 films. Like he's good in this as well. Don't get me wrong, but like the dramatic roles of his next 2 films are very apparent. He's great at a villain. He did Casino Royale. Like we see that range there. But this is where I kind of we get a bit of fun with it as well. And it's like, it was kind of fun to see Mads like letting loose a little bit and being like having the inhibitions a little lowered as well. And sort of like it goes with that sort of the dank nature of the film is kind of like, I don't want to be friends with this guy, but there's something about you that I'm like, I get why, people want to have you around, you little cokehead, you know what I mean? You
little drugged up rascal.
we'll give him a little noogie. Stop that coke use, boy. Come on. Better your life, mate.
Oh, go on, you can have one more.
One more bump for you, Mads. So, but that I think this is like a really fun look at his range of the energy he brings early on to the film, but then when things do get more serious, sort of his ability to make those scenes feel grounded, and even though he still has that coked up energy, there is a difference in the emotion. Because I feel like I've seen, especially like crime thriller and gangster movies, where when you get the character like that and then they're put in a roughed up situation, there's still a bit too much comical nature to it as well. I think the only other person I think does it really well is like Joe Pesci.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
there's that energy, but then you believe that something's bad when he's bad. I got that from Mads in this and for a first time performance, like shit.
Yeah,
man,
for
good.
a first time performance, like you can see that it propels him into
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's electric, and while he is only, really in the first half an hour of this film, he does really stand out. Yeah. We should mention as well his role in the film is it Tony?
Tony, I think it's Tony.
It's Tony, I believe.
Yeah. And he's sort of Frank's best friend. He's his drug dealing buddy.
Kind of a little bit of his muscle, I guess, like a bit.
Yeah.
Wants him there
uses
for the deal.
Bulldog energy.
Yeah. He does look like a pit bull, doesn't he?
He does a little bit.
Yeah.
But he does a really good job of it. And I think like Nick said, it's something that we're not really used to seeing from him, because we have seen, even in roles that are tinged with comedy in things like Another Round and Riders of Justice, to name a couple of recent examples, they're still very much dramatic films.
Totally.
And this, while it is a crime thriller, Mads is almost the comic relief.
Yeah.
Totally.
And he does a really good job of bringing, like you said, that kind of manic, chaotic, slightly dangerous but funny energy to it.
Yeah.
And as you said, Josh, you can see why, casting agents would have seen this and gone, shit, like this is a guy we want in our next film.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if he's kind of done any like straight up comedy, and it doesn't.
I think that Men and Chicken.
Men and Chicken.
Is that another?
I think that's like a
Anders Thomas Jensen.
Anders Thomas Jensen movie.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's
interesting. Never even heard of it.
I've been wanting to watch that. I haven't seen it, but
maybe
he's done a lot of collaborations with Anders Thomas Jensen.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, most notably, Riders of Justice as well,
which I think was like their fourth or fifth film together or something like that.
Film. So I mean, it's fine, and he's gone on to do so much cool stuff since. So, like Clash of the Titans. Anyway. Bless young Mads. But yeah, he's unfortunately not in the film that long. And the film itself from that point, to me, that was kind of the turning point, or the scene beforehand when we find out why he's not in the rest of the film. Sort of is when the film then really latches onto its more thriller tone and becomes that, like Kieran was saying, it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier.
Yeah, it kind of, I think it turns into a Frank spiraling out of control.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which is very Uncut Gems.
Yeah,
Yes.
You're right.
With Adam Sandler's character just making worse and worse decisions.
It's exactly
and
like
you're
that.
there going, fuck, man, like just stop.
Just stop for a second and think about it.
Please.
And it's that same energy.
Yeah.
But then it's funny because that's in the front of my brain, and in my back of my brain is like, keep fucking up. This is real good. This is real good for the movie. I was like, make bad decisions. So, because then we get where this film goes by the end, and just I would not necessarily content wise, but like feeling wise, almost compare it to Taxi Driver at the end of this film, just saw where it leads up to and how that film's climax sort of comes about. You kind of go, does it get more dark than this? It was a lot of fun. But
it's funny you mentioned Martin Scorsese though, because it's very reminiscent of After Hours. Which I don't know if you guys have seen.
Which I've never seen, no.
It's like a 80s Scorsese film about a guy who, he like goes on a date with this girl and it doesn't go well, and like then, I think she gets murdered, and they think he murdered her even though he'd left her house, and like just like progressively worse and worse.
Right.
It's like, Good Time 40 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Oh, right. That's
added to the list.
So yeah, very reminiscent of that. And I was just looking at Refn's inspirations for this film. like some interesting ones here, like Mean Streets. Yeah, I get it. French Connection.
Especially
get it.
if, like first film with Mean Streets and this as well. You kind of get that camera work is pretty similar.
And then Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, of course. Nicolas Winding Refn would fucking reference Cannibal Holocaust.
I heard he was watching a Lars von Trier film while he was editing it.
That would make sense.
That makes sense, yeah. Especially with like the whole Dogma 95 thing.
And it is done a bit Dogma with all the handheld camera, and which also realistically puts you in, in it with Frank.
Yeah.
I felt
Yeah,
like
totally,
it's kind of following him handheld behind his back quite a bit.
You rarely get a moment to breathe.
It's
pretty high octane from the get-go.
Yeah.
And with making the film, just reading here in the development, so it actually started out as a 5-minute short film that Nicolas Winding Refn used as an application for film school.
Oh, wow. Nice.
He got offered a place at film school, and then he turned it down and decided to make Pusher into a feature film.
That's cool.
So that works out pretty well for him.
I mean, it's done. He's done quite well since then. So he got out of bankruptcy and everything. So like, good man.
But it's it is a super low budget film. It's it's not a pretty film. It's super rough around the edges. It's very much like a low budget indie debut feature.
But you can tell from that first shot of Frank walking across the street, you immediately know there's no streets shut down here. These guys are just walking through.
Yeah.
Hoping no one gets in the camera and goes like, hey, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of, that would be my greatest fear if I was doing this guerrilla style of filmmaking. He's like, all these fucking people messing it up. So, but you get that straight away. And but I like that it doesn't lose that throughout the film. It kind of goes, let's have this energy throughout the entire runtime. I'm intrigued to know, Josh, having watched the second one and knowing that's more about Mads.
Yeah.
How does the performance change? Because there's a gap between Pusher and Pusher 2.
There is. There's a couple of films, and there's one film with Mads that Refn does as well, Bleeder, which I'm interested to watch.
Yeah,
that he did in '99. Then did Fear X with I think it was with John Turturro.
Yes. Yep.
Which didn't go down very well. And then he went back to Pusher and wrote Pusher 2 and 3. It was pretty quickly.
Get out of debt, wasn't it?
Yeah. Obviously the second one then follows the Tony character. So Mads is the main. It's much more fleshed out, obviously. He's a bit older, he's been to prison, and he just gets out of prison.
Okay.
And then it's kind of just about him trying to get back into society.
Okay.
Trying to get back in with his dad, who his dad has kind of given up on him. It's actually it's more of a drama than a thriller.
Okay. But we like the character enough.
100. And
Mads is still good at it.
Mads is great. Mads is very
Have to add Pusher 2 to the list then.
Yeah, it's a good trilogy.
Okay.
Just I watched the third one last night, and just thinking about the trilogy as a whole and how it follows different characters, but not linking the stories. They're in different times. I guess they're kind of in the future of each other.
Totally.
So Mads is older, and then in the third one it's about Milo, and he's older
as well. Yeah.
Okay, it's a cool way. I don't know. I found the concept of the trilogy is really cool.
It's like you start with these base roster of characters, and then you kind of do your offshoots from there.
Yeah. I think one of the only characters that's in all three is the one that they call the C word.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Milo's not in the second one? Is Milo in the second one?
Milo might be in all three as well. Yeah.
Right, but still, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not afraid to drop that word.
I was when they started calling that, I'm like, what is going on?
I thought it was pretty funny. I was.
So is that
me? I'm juvenile.
Is that the big bald guy Radovan?
That's right. Oh no, not the
not Milo's enforcer.
No, not him.
Because he's in all three of them, isn't he?
Is he in all three as well? Well, maybe right. Milo and that guy. Oh, maybe there's heaps of people in all three. Forget what I said.
Yeah, so the Milo's big bodyguard.
Don't Google
apparently...
that. No, sorry. Don't Google that. That was
okay.
That first link was wow.
It's a good thing you guys can't see the screen. So yes.
Sorry. I don't mean to derail.
We said we were replacing Nick.
I was trying to do some on-air producing and finding out whether the C word was in all 3 films. And I found a different film altogether.
Probably European.
C word, yeah, it was still, definitely, probably still from maybe Denmark as well. Who knows? Anyway, where are we? What are we doing? Hey guys.
The point I was trying to make is that Slavko Lebovich, who plays Milo's bodyguard, was apparently going to be the lead of the 4th Pusher film that never got made.
There was going to be a 4th. Wow, okay.
But I love the scene of him and Frank in the car on the way to go and pick up a debt.
Yeah.
And they're just talking, like, you got this like huge, like muscly, bald, scary looking dude. And he's just talking about how he wants to get out of, like, you know, the crime life and open up like a kebab restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's just like this like real moment of sweetness
Well,
before they go and intimidate a guy with a shotgun to pay them some money.
You can tell he's got like, he sort of feels a bit sorry for Frank, and he's trying to help him out a bit.
Yeah, he's like, Frank, buddy, come on.
Frank, come on, mate.
I've been told I need to break your legs. And I don't want to break your legs, Frank.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to fucking break your legs.
Some weird chopper about that, isn't it?
That kind of comes full circle in the 3rd film.
Okay.
I won't give any, but and I do like that character, and I think in the 3rd one you get to like him a bit more.
Okay, nice.
So saying that, I would have loved actually to see a 4th one with him.
Never say never.
Yeah.
Never say never.
True.
Nicolas Winding Refn's probably got one in him.
Mad listener of the show.
Yeah, big fan. Shout
Mads,
out.
listener of the show.
Mads listener.
Oh, that was fucking dreadful.
That was great. No, that was perfect. Well, I guess in the spirit of March Madness, I definitely think this is an essential film. And I would, having not seen, I would probably put Pusher 2 in there as well as essential films to watch for Mads' career.
Yep.
I think it was a good pick for March Madness as well. I think we get an idea of where he started, but sort of how he had that screen presence early on.
Straight off.
Yeah, right off the bat. Yeah. So I think it's, I'm so glad we all finally got to watch it. And big recommend for me. Like it's not perfect. It's not a perfect movie.
No.
But it's a first time feature.
For a
film,
first time feature, I think it's,
made in the 90s too. For, like you said, basically nothing. Like,
and also like you've said, when you think now, like we've seen all those other films now, but
totally,
to see that in '96
would have been
it would have been pretty revolutionary.
Yeah, which is cool. So essential Mads viewing.
Yes.
So the film as a whole, how do we feel? Any major gripes with it? Anything you really liked?
I think my major gripes is that it felt like a first time feature film that it's not as polished. There's certain scenes that just probably go on a little too long, especially dialogue wise. It didn't feel as polished. It was this mix of like there was intentional things that had to be said in scenes, but then there was also this improv nature to the dialogue that sometimes clashed with each other.
It did feel like it almost felt like the story didn't have a structure.
Yeah.
And I know that is, I'm assuming it's meant to be like it's a realistic few days. Well, it's a week, isn't it?
A week, yeah.
It's kind of done Monday,
each day,
Tuesday, Wednesday, which at the end of when it hits Sunday, I'm like, oh my God, this is a week.
This is probably the longest week in Frank's life.
Bad week.
Jesus Christ.
You think you've had a bad week?
You've had a bad week.
I agree with you there. I think the structure of it's probably a little bit all over the place too. Even though you want to have this unhinged nature, I feel like in a narrative format, you have to have some sort of, and even though the insanity continues to increase as the film goes on, you also kind of want to have it like have some moments of levity, especially towards the end, just to let yourself breathe and stuff. But that comes through in Nicolas Winding Refn's later filmography. Like it's he learned. And now you've said it was a short film initially. You can kind of get that idea as well. You kind of like, he's made. It's almost like he's made 7 different short films. True. You know what I mean? And that's a gripe, but it's not a major one.
No.
Like, I still very much enjoyed this film.
Yeah, I like the score. I like how you can definitely like see how he's progressed that now to a really polished, but it's the hints of what he was trying to do back then. I really like that. I actually, the more I've sat on it, the more I've liked it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I was, by the end of it, I wanted to carry on. Like
I'm really excited to watch the rest of the films just to see where these characters end up and see, especially, Nicolas Winding Refn with a few more films under his belt and how they look and how they feel, because, he is one of my favorite directors.
Yes.
I love, Drive is obviously one of my favorite films, but I also love Only God Forgives and I love The Neon Demon. So I'm really excited to watch.
Neon
loved all
Demon.
those.
I remember seeing that in the cinema, and about 7 or 8 people walked out.
I'm not surprised, but I fucking
You
love
can
it.
guess when the majority of them walked out. But yeah, that's,
I think I've seen them all at home.
wow. Okay, yeah.
But I've really loved all of them.
If it ever comes up, I was super lucky after I'd already seen it. They played Drive at Goma on 35 millimeter.
I saw that,
yeah, did you?
We were probably in the same room. Like,
Probably.
funnily
Yeah,
enough.
right.
Yeah. Fuck, that was that was great. So if that ever pops up again,
Yeah,
we
it
gotta
was
see
really
yeah.
nice to be able to
Yeah,
see
I'd-
one of my favorite films
On
on the
yeah,
big
cinema,
screen,
but
which I'd
on
never
a
done
film
before.
print as well, which is even cooler.
And
For
even
us
though it's like a
nerds.
super like clean, stylish film, the film, like,
The
actual
grain.
film grain stock adds to it.
yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah.
Some more fun facts about the film.
Yes.
Film was shot using Danish union rules.
I heard this.
So
Okay, what's that?
No
Like
more than
8
8
hours
hours
a
of
day.
filming per day and no filming
Not
on
on the
weekends.
Fucking, I don't hate that.
The Danes have it figured out.
Yeah, well done. They actually care about their arts. Who would have thought?
They actually treat their actors like people. Shocking.
What?
Film was shot almost completely in chronological order because Winding Refn found that shooting scenes out of order confused him. Which I totally get.
I get that.
totally get that.
Especially for a first film as well. You kind of want to be like, can I just do this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, no, absolutely. Yeah. Especially with one as crazy as this.
And I think with how it's kind of broken into days of the week, it almost makes sense
It
to
does.
shoot it in chronological order.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, I'm no actor, but I feel like you would get a better feel for your character
As it's going on.
as it's going on. Like if you're shooting in chronological order, because like, you know, you start off as one character and you finish as another.
Yeah.
You're going to feel
Yeah.
differently in compared to if you're shooting the last scene,
Yeah.
you know, as the first shot of the
Totally,
day.
I really thought that in because they chronologically filmed climax.
Yeah.
Of like, can you imagine doing those later scenes and then having to do earlier scenes? Like,
Yeah.
it'd almost be impossible. I
Yeah.
reckon. I'm no actor either. So.
I pretend to be Nicola Barrow every single day of the week.
Yeah, we don't even know his real name. And the last fun fact I've got is that Nicolas Winding Refn wasn't really happy with the original actor that was playing Frank, thinking that he was too placid and boring.
I mean, it's not the film you want to be placid or boring in.
No,
that's for sure. Yeah.
So Kim Bodnia, who was a much more established actor than probably the rest of the cast, Winding Refn approached him. He accepted.
Wow.
And then he was like, a lot of the other actors hadn't rehearsed with him because it was like middle of filming, basically.
Right. Okay.
And they were kind of like really taken aback by how like aggressive and the fact that he knew how to act. And everyone else is just kind of fumbling around. And,
Yeah.
and Kim Bodnia has just come in throwing boxes at people. And but I feel like
Let's go.
I feel like these like low budget debut features, indie films always have so much like interesting behind the scenes production.
yeah.
stuff.
True.
Yeah. Well, and it comes across on screen. It's a goddamn interesting indie debut
Yeah.
feature.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
So star ratings, Nick.
I'm going 3.5 for this one. Yeah.
Yeah. I've leaned. I'm 4 now.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd give it 4 stars. And like just for shits and giggles, I'd probably give all three films 4 stars.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a favorite,
Ooh.
Second.
Nah. Mads.
the more
King
Mads,
Mads.
the
I
better.
think it's the more Mads. I think it is more Mads. And it was funny because I think I was saying off air, at the end, there's not really a conclusion to
Right.
his story. And Susie, my partner, was like, can we watch the third? I want to see what happens. And then he's not in it. It's like, God damn it. I actually really want to.
He's still sitting there just like, what happened
do
to
wanna-
Tony?
That's right.
What happened to him?
But I feel like we get that with the first film, right?
Yeah.
Like, not to give away the ending for people who want to watch it, but that doesn't have a definitive,
definitive ending,
satisfactory.
No.
It kind
is
of
the
just
finish.
ends.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah,
shit, okay.
all 3 are
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I like that he's consistent with that.
Yeah,
No, I was
yeah.
going to say, that's
yeah.
a very Nicolas Winding Refn
yeah.
sort of thing, yeah.
But we'd all recommend it.
Yeah, 100%.
What was your star
What was your
rating?
star?
3.5 as
Yeah.
well.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely recommend it, those. Not just for March Madness, but yeah, just in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you like those kind of films that we've talked about,
Yeah.
if you're a fan of Guy Ritchie's stuff, if you're a fan of the Safdie brothers,
Yeah.
and if you're a fan of Nicolas Winding Refn and Mads Mikkelsen,
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
that's a given. Just
a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, check it out. It's good fun.
Yep.
And it's only 105 minutes, and we love a short movie.
yeah. 2 hours.
They're all about 1 hour 40, I think.
I can get behind
Love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
More of that, please.
I feel like I know your answer, but favorite performances before we close off?
Oh,
I feel like yours is Frank.
Yes. I love him. I really like him as an actor.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen The Bridge, the Danish/Swedish version, it's really good.
Okay.
Really, really good. He's always that sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of guy in them.
Yeah.
Like a serious, but I don't know, he plays it really well. But I really loved Milo.
He would probably be my pick as well.
Milo's my pick as well.
Yeah, so Zlatko Buric.
For a in the background almost kind of guy, he really stands out.
I think the scene that really sells him for me is, I think it's maybe the first time we meet him, because Frank goes to him needing some more heroin to do a deal. And like we're like, oh, he's going to meet, you know, the big drug lord, like the big bad, like it's going to be like this really tense thing. And he walks into just this cafe and he's like, here, try these like biscuits. And he's like, nah, I don't want to.
I don't want it anymore.
And everyone's like, yeah, don't try them. They're shit. Like he can't cook.
Oh, that comes up in the third one as well.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay, I'm excited to watch
But
this.
again, like, and I feel like all of the characters are like really serious when they need to be, but they all have these like little moments of lightheartedness.
Yeah,
and
totally.
like these really human moments. Like I said, Radovan talking about the cafe that he wants to open, and Tony just being like a fucking menace.
Yeah.
And Frank is like a jester. Like
Yeah,
he's serious.
he
Like they
is.
keep him around because he's like the court jester.
that's
Yeah,
true.
pretty
And so
much.
long as he keeps dancing, they'll keep him around.
Rapscallion.
And then Frank stops dancing and he finds out what happens.
And then you go,
And Milo again, like he's you know, it's like that thing of what I was saying before of like, Frank, I'm gonna have to kneecap you, Frank. I don't want to do it.
I don't want to.
But
I like you, Frank.
Yeah, but you're gonna lose a hand at this rate, Frank.
That's right.
Milo as well. It's like for all
okay, cool.
It makes me excited to watch the third
I think
one.
you'll really like the third one.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cool.
March Madness offered
We kick it off.
full swing. Well, let's swing into next week's episode.
Next week's
Which is
episode.
Josh's pick.
My pick.
So Josh, tell us what we're going to be talking about for our next episode of March Madness.
Yeah, this is a film I probably would have brought up at some point anyway. It was, I think, after it's about 10 years after Pusher, I think.
2006, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, exactly 10 years.
There we go. He's on it.
It's a Suzanne Bier film.
Yeah. Very esteemed
Yes.
director.
Yeah. After the Wedding.
Yeah.
Which isn't recently had an American little redo.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So yeah, After the Wedding, I've been a big fan of the film, so I would have picked it anyway. So I was glad when this came up, I could pop it in there.
Good excuse for it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, you can find that episode next week on our, once again, brand new spanking new. We're spanking each other on that 1 inch barrier.
We're popping it in and we're spanking.
Yeah. Woo, puppy. Just don't Google Pusher in the C word. Don't do that.
And on that bombshell.
That 1 inch barrier on Instagram, youtube.com/that 1 inch barrier. And now you can find that 1 inch barrier on its own podcasting platform, which is probably what you're already listening to this. Make sure you subscribe, leave us a little review on that, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you're listening to us, we appreciate it. Thank you for the support with the transfer over. And
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to see or to show you what's coming next.
Yeah.
So all of our socials are in the comments, the links, the descriptions.
We can get AI to replace him, right?
Like literally at the moment, yeah. I'm like, how do I do this again?
I don't think this is the first Nick. I'm sure there's like 3 or 4 of them out there. And
This one's just running out of battery. We're gonna quickly put the other one in. We'll swap the other one over for next week. But I will see you on the next episode. That 1 inch barrier.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
See
you
you
very
later.
much.